that this session is recorded. Um, so now we have a data set which I have downloaded. There's a data set that I've shared with you. It's what you can do. We are going to use 2020 data set. Okay. So what you can do, you can download it on your computer. This is what we are going to use. So usually there are a number of data collection tools like Excel. There is Oracle. Oracle is a database management system, but there's also what you call SAP. I don't know whether we are familiar with it, but this is used in corporate organizations, or it's used with NGOs, UN is also using SAP. Quan Industries is also using SAP. These are just data collection tools where people go and enter data, and it's about us as data analysts to go and extract those data sets from either the Oracle databases or from SAP or from any other data source. So now we have downloaded our data set, as you can see, 2020. The first thing before you analyze it, you have to make sure that you understand the data set, because you cannot analyze what you don't know. So sit down and analyze the data set. That's the first thing. So I'm opening the data set is going to open through Excel, and we shall be able to understand it together, such that no one is left behind. But the first thing that you have to do is to first of all understand the data. Okay. And in data analysis, the very first thing is to clean the data. Usually, this data comes with actually, you can be hired for a professional job where you're going to be getting maybe 4 million Ghanaian shillings, but you will spend most of your time cleaning the data. Okay, so part of your job will be data cleaning. That's why we are going to look at the Power Query, which is a tool that is in Excel and also in Power BI. So now, excuse me, hope my screen is visible. Anyone can confirm if it is. Mr. Ring, is my screen visible? Please let me know. Is it visible? I've had something. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we are in Excel. We are trying to first of all understand our data set. Okay, these are the columns. These are the columns: order ID, customer ID, cookie shipped, revenue, cost, order date, shipment date, order status, among others. So now, if you look at this, what's wrong? First of all, so you have to look at the data set critically and understand it. So here we have what we call the order ID, the customer date, the customer ID. So if you look at this, let me try to increase the font size such that even if you're using a small screen to attend this class, you can be able to benefit. I'm trying to increase the font size, but if you look at the customer ID, what's wrong with it? It is having the ID plus an extension of the customer name in just one column. So we need to separate the customer ID and the customer name. So if they ask which customer is this, instead of saying YT restaurants, it is showing 152689 and then dash YT restaurants. So this you have extracted the data set but it is coming with what we don't want to separate the customer ID with the customer name. That's number one. Number two, if you have to look at this column of cookies shipped, which is having a dollar sign, but ideally, if we have the cookies shipped, that's just a quantity. It cannot be currency or amount. Okay? Amount of money. No, it cannot be possible. So we need to remove this dollar sign to make it a quantity. Okay? But right now, if you see this, what comes to your mind? Is this money or not? So you cannot make an analysis out of it, out of this. If something is having a dollar sign. The revenue, if you look at it, even the column itself, it's saying dollar sign, then this amount. So this is money. Okay. Okay. So now the cost is there. So now if we have the revenue or the sales revenue and then the cost, what else can we get from this? If you have the revenue and then the cost of production, you can get a profit out of it. So we need another column for profit. So it will be revenue minus the costs. And then here we have the order date and then the shipment date or delivery date. So what can we generate from this as a data analyst? There is the order date and the shipment date. So maybe we want to calculate how long does it take for someone to place an order. Okay, how much does it take? Sorry, how many days does it take? How many months? So if you look at, like, if we analyze that, we shall see that some are taking less, some are taking more time. Why? What's wrong? So those are the questions that most people will be interested in. And then if you look at the order status, was it shipped or the order is still open? And then these are shipped orders, these are still open. Why? These are the questions that you need to answer as a data analyst. So now, after understanding the data set, so now we are going to Power BI and we see how we can be able to use the Power Query to clean this data. So I'll repeat this, that in Power BI, we usually do three things. One of them is extraction. You must extract the data either from Excel or from SQL. And then the next step is transformation. Transformation is simply data cleaning. Okay? And then loading, that is the last, when you're taking it to either the pivot tables for analysis or you're taking them to the Power BI tool for analyzing and visualizing. So now, the first thing that you have to do, it is to make sure your data set is ready, and now you're going to extract it. So we have had a class on how you can be able to extract the data set. So in your notebook, maybe if you're writing somewhere, you can write this, that in Power BI there are three things that we usually do. One of them, it is data extraction. We extract data from any data source, maybe it's from Excel or from SQL. That next, it is transformation, which is data cleaning, where you will spend most of your time in cleaning the data. And then loading, or what we call ETL. I'll say it again. ETL, extraction, transformation, loading. So we go to and click on blank report. You click on blank report in Power BI. So here you're seeing import data from Excel, import data from SQL Server. So our data set is in what? In Excel. So I'll click on import data from Excel. So what we are doing now is what we call data extraction. We are extracting our data from Excel. So it is this 2020 order data. So I'll click open, and then I will connect, or I'll do what we call establishing a connection between Excel and Power BI, and it will tell you that it is connecting or establishing a connection between Power BI and Excel. This will take time. This will take some time, but it doesn't take too long to establish that connection. So we are done with what we call data extraction. Now we are going to transformation. Transformation, I said, that is data cleaning. Team, any question? Friends, do you have any question as far as that is concerned before we begin the data transformation? So now it is doing its work. I'm not doing anything. So it's just doing its work of establishing that connection. So any question? I said in the beginning that if you have any question, please just unmute yourself and speak. Any question as far as that is concerned? Okay. So now, since no one is unmuting, I'll take the assumption that we are at the same pace. So with that, now our data is here. So I'm going to just click on it by selecting it, and now it will ask for some questions. Do you want to just load or transform the data, or you want to cancel? So now we are going to what we call the Power Query, which is a tool for data transformation. It's a little bit advanced. You don't need to remember any formula. You don't need any coding skill. You don't need any programming skill to use the Power Query. Don't worry about it. It's so easy, and anyone can use it for cleaning the data. So now this is our data set. So what do you want to do? If it is clean already, you can just go and load it, the canvas for analysis. But now we want to first transform it, or we want to first clean it. So I'll click on transform the data. So it is going to open, or it's going to open what we call the Power Query, editor. So now let us give it some time. It's going to load, don't worry. It's going to open what we call the Power Query editor. So this is, in case you're analyzing data using Excel, still, if you're analyzing big data, surely you will come to Power Query. So there's no way of escaping Power Query in your analysis. So now, the first thing that you have to do as a data analyst when you're cleaning the data, first make sure that all the data types for your data, they are correct. Make sure if it is a text, is it a text? If it is money, is it showing currency as a data type? If it is a whole number, is it a whole number? If it is a date, if it is date, is it date? So if it is a decimal number, is it a decimal number? Or changing what we call data types. That's the first thing that you have to do. And then also looking for what we call duplicates in your data. Okay? Because let's take an example. You have the order ID, the customer ID, cookies shipped, revenue. So here, if we see that the order ID is the same, the customer ID is also the same, and we have like two records on the same day, same amount. So each customer can make maybe an order, but with different order IDs. So make sure that your data is free from duplicate. Otherwise, you'll make wrong reporting. So how do you view duplicates and remove them? It is very, very simple. You just need to go to this tab called View. You click on it, and then is what we call column distribution. I can click on column distribution. It's going to make its analysis. You can just give it some time. Yes, it is showing us this 6 distinct, 0 unique. Out of these 4 493 distinct, and then out of this 327 it is unique, so that there are some duplicates. But if there are some duplicates in the order ID, that means when they are entering that data, it is having what we call duplicates. So now you have to remove duplicates. Then if you click on column distribution like this, if you just check it and you want to remove duplicates, so what do? You can just try to hover, you can just try to move the cursor here and then to tell you remove duplicates. So let me try to remove, but that's why it is blinking. It has removed most of the things, but this is not correct because the customer IDs can be the same, but the order ID has to be different. So that's why it has removed. So now, as I say that in Power BI, whatever you do on your data, it is going to show you what we call the applied steps, what you have so far done. So now we have removed duplicates. So we need to remove it. So I say that if you want to undo, the Ctrl Z doesn't work here. So you just come and click on remove duplicates. The moment you try to hover on it, to show you a red button which you can click, and then it is going to undo the changes. Okay, so how do you remove duplicates? You can just try to hover on this and then you click on what we call remove duplicates. Okay, so having seen that we don't have duplicates now, and that because if so, are you going to say something? Please mute. Yes, yes. Okay, okay. Thank you for that. Okay, okay. Thank you. So someone asking how did they come to those green bars? So I said that if when you run the Power BI and you are in if you run the Power Query to open like this, okay. So now if you want to view duplicates, you can just go and click on view, okay. After that you click on column distribution, just like that, and then they will come. So then maybe the another question can be how do you remove duplicates and then how do you identify them? So here in our data set, duplicates should be on order ID. The customer can make several orders on just a single day. That is very possible, but with different order IDs. Okay, so if there are duplicates, they would have been in this column. So there you can be able to remove them. And if you click on this view, you can view a lot of things. Monospace, but what's important is for duplicates. So we don't have any duplicate now. Data set, so we cannot remove anything. So I can remove or uncheck the column distribution and then go back to normal. Okay. So since we have seen that we don't have duplicates, now we are going to check for welcome. So now we are going to check data types. A data type, it is the kind of the data. Is it a number? There are usually three, or we can have multiple data types. We have what we call numeric. These are numbers. We have what we call alphanumeric, a combination of letters and numbers. If you look at this column, that's what we call the numbers and the letters. So that cannot be numeric. That's what we call numeric. Alphanumeric, a combination of letters and numbers. And then we have what we call non-numeric data types. These are data types which have text. It's like any word. So that's it. So now what you're going to do, you're going to check the data types. How do you check them? You can right click just like this, and then if you right click on this, I'm trying to right click, I don't know. Okay, right click. You can right click on the column header, and then you can click on what we call change type. So if you click on this change type, it is showing decimal number, fixed decimal number or number, percentage, date, time, what, among many others. So now in our data set, this is, if you look at this data that is in this column, I think these are numbers, so we can call them wall numbers. So we can change this, or you can just simply click on this, but on this icon of data type, you can click on it just once, and then you change. This is a wall number, okay? And then customer ID, I think we can first ignore this column because it has some issues. We shall need to split these columns. Oh, sorry, this column. How do you split columns? We shall look at that. Cookie shipped. So we say that this is just a wall number. Okay. Can click on it, and then it is a wall number. And then revenue. Revenue is also here. This is also a wall number. Okay. There are no points. And then if you have to look at the cost it is having whole numbers and decimal numbers, so this qualifies to be what we call a decimal number. Then the order date is already date, so you can change it. If you can try to change it, it's already date. So what else can we change? I think RLR. Okay, so we have changed the data types. Maybe I'll repeat that. If you want to change the data type, you can right click and then change type. Is it a decimal or anything? There you'll be done. So having done that, what else can we do? So now we are going to learn how to split columns. So when you are splitting columns, we use what you call delimiter. So the delimiter can be a space, it can be a semicolon, it can be a dash or anything. So now we want to split this ID from the customer name. So that means we are going to have two columns. One, customer ID, customer name separately. So to do that, this is the easiest thing to do. You can just right click again, you can right click and then split column. It is here. Or you can go to home and then you choose a column and then split column. It is here. You can click on it and then by delimiter. So now I think the easiest one it is right clicking on the column header. You can right click and then split column and then you choose by delimiter. A delimiter can be a space, it can be a quotation, it can be anything, depending on what separates the two variables, sorry, the two numbers or the two values. So now, what separates this ID 152689 with YT restaurants? I think it is just a dash. So in case there is something, if you try to check in different delimiters here by just clicking on this, there is colon, it is comma, equal sign, semicolon, space, tab. If you can just use what we call custom. So I think what separates it is what we call the dash. Okay. So now I can just click OK. And then the columns are going to be splitted from that one column. So now we need to change the column headers. So to rename a column, you can just double click on it and then you change it. This is customer ID and then this is customer name. To change a column, you can just double click on it. You can click on the column header of what you want to change. This is customer name. Okay. So now that means we need to change the data types. Customer ID is not a text, it is a wall number. So you can just click on this. I said to change data types, you can just come and click on this, or you can right click, can click on that and then change. This is a wall number. And then this is already a text, or you can just try to change it. You can click on it just like this, and then we choose what you call texts ABC, and there you go. So after splitting the columns, I say to split columns, we can just try to right click and then split column. Where is it? It is this one can usually when you go to home and then the split column, it can also be here, or you can right click on the column header and then split will be here as well. So now after separating the two, we are realizing that, let me show you something. Let me first open Excel, show you something what I mean. Let me try to open Excel. But as Excel opens, if you try to see this, the customer name, yes, it is there, but it starts with a space. So we need to remove that space. Okay? Usually, the computer does not understand that if a name is Robert Kawalya and Kawalya Robert, doesn't consider it as this is the same person. It just say, these are different people. So that's why we need to remove those inconsistencies in our data. The computer doesn't know that this is the same person. So we need to remove that. And you can find that some columns or some values. Okay, let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me show you something in Excel. So you can try to see that the name Robert Kawalya, the R is capital on Kawalya, on Robert. Let me show you something. Okay, if the name is Robert, I'll use my name such that I don't get sued by people. Kawalya, Robert, I'm showing you examples. Another one can be Robert Kawalya. Okay. Another one can be Robert. Kawalya. So if you find cases where the system that is being used is case sensitive, these are going to be considered as different persons or different people. So now there's also something. The name might be the same when people are entering the data, but what is making a difference, maybe it can be in two things. It can be Kawalya, it can be Kawalya Robert. These are different persons depending on the computer. So, and then one can be starting with a space like this, Robert Kawalya. Are you seeing this? They might be the same. Okay, they might be the same. This is Robert Kawalya, but this is starting with a space. So these are considered as different persons or different people. So that means we need to remove that. So now if you have look at our data, it is having a space. Okay, after separating it. So how do we remove spaces? And then assuming we have some inconsistencies. Now that let's say this is like this, another is like Robert Kawalya. Okay, to avoid judgments in our data, so we need to make sure either or are capital capital letters, or they are sentence case, or they are in lowercase. Okay, so now going back to Power BI, how would we format the data set or the values? Okay, so you can just go to what we call the transform tab. You can go to transform tab. Okay, after that you can choose what you call format, and then to remove the space that starts, you can just use what you call trim. If you have to look at it, the space has been removed. It was starting with a space. Okay, so now how do we then make it maybe sentence case or lowercase or capitalized? Capitalizing each word means that if the name is Robert Kawalya, each letter, the first each letter at the beginning of maybe each letter is going to be capitalized. That is capitalizing. So now I'm going to click that. I'm going to select that column of customer name. I go to transform, and then I'll choose what we call format. And then I can use uppercase, capitalizing each word, or lowercase. So that is going to remove this Robert Kawalya so such that our data is consistent. So that's it. Nothing much. But again, I'll repeat. If you want to remove, if you want maybe to make your data is lowercase, or if you want to make it uppercase, or you can just go to transform. You can click on format. You can use uppercase, and your data will change. After that, still, what else can we perform on our datasets using what we call the Power Query Editor? So now we can find what we call the lead time. The lead time is just the difference between when something was delivered, when something was ordered, and when it was shipped. We want to know how much time do we take to deliver these orders. Are we putting customers on hold for so long? You know, it is a little bit irritating to order for something, maybe for a birthday, and then the birthday reaches, they deliver another day. So that is not a good customer service. So we need to find out. So how do we come up with what we call custom columns? How can we add a calculated column on our dataset using what we call the Power Query Editor? This is not complicated. I said you don't need any coding skills, you don't need any programming skill to do this. This is something easy. Just click here, click there, and you're done. So now we want to establish the difference between the shipment date or the delivery date minus the order date. This will give us the period it takes. Does it take months? Does it take weeks or days? So I can select this. Usually, if you're using Microsoft 365, you can just select the columns. You can select the first one, the delivery date, minus this. You can just select them like this, or highlighting the columns. And then you go to what you call date, and then to bring something what you call subtractions. Okay, but since I'm also not using Microsoft 365, I'm going to add what we call a custom column. So to add a custom column, what you do, you go to what you call add a column. Okay, add a column. After adding a column, you got what you call custom column. A custom column, it is a column that you just add. It can be a calculated column from what is existing. they're going to ask you for some few questions. You don't need to code. What's the custom column name? What's the new column name? Maybe it can be the lead time, how much it takes. Okay, what are you subtracting? We are subtracting the order date from the shipment date, and these are the available columns. We have the order ID, customer name, copy shipped, revenue, cost, order date, shipment date, and order status. So now if you click on shipment ID, sorry, shipment date, we have all, and we just subtract. So we shall just double click on this minus the order date. So the shipment date minus the order date. After that, you can just click OK, and then that column, it is going to be added. You just give it some time. This is what we call the Power Query. It has brought some nulls. That this does not mean our data is not correct. Null means there's nothing, because if you have to look at this, the ship date, there are some open orders. So since these were not shipped, so you cannot find that. So these are nulls. Nothing was shipped. But if you scroll down, you're able to see that the order was placed. Let us analyze this. The order was placed on 16th of November 2020, but it was delivered on 19th of November 2020. How many days? I think it takes three days. Okay, and maybe to ask a question, or maybe to do this, it's just a little bit rhetorical. If we have formatted this data type, these are what? These are days. Okay, so if you look at this, if you want to format this, the lead time, maybe to know that these are days, you can just go and choose that column, and then we can go to what we call so this might not work since we are not using 365, but if you try to change this data type to what we call duration, this can change. Okay, it can change, and then it brings the duration. But if this was 365, it would give us just the days. Okay, so now these are days it takes. So if you can see that some it is taking 5 days, okay, some it is taking 2 days, and then according to your policies as an organization, what do you base on to say that this order was overdue? What do you base on? Do you base maybe an order should be delivered within 3 days? So what does it take? Okay, so those are the questions that you can be able to answer as a data analyst. So now we want to add more custom columns such that we get to understand how they operate. Okay, if we have to look at this, we have the revenue, we have the cost. I think we can find what we call the profit, and that will be a difference between the two. So to add a custom column, we can just go to add the column, custom column, and then that column we can give it a name of profit. So I can just try to name it as profit, and profit will be, so you just enter the formula here. You can just choose the columns. It is going to be 11. You can just double click on it. Let me try to redo. You can just double click on the available columns on 11 minus the cost, and this will give us the profit. Okay, this is the profit column. Okay, so now So now this is not enough. Still, you can come up with another column. This is profit. So now if you want to know what is the profit margin in terms of percentage, how much, what is that percentage? Is it 50% that we make? Sorry, that we may be on this on a particular order, we made a profit of this. So now what is the formula that we can use? So that can be, you can just say we go to add custom column. Now we can use the profit against the what? The revenue. So it can be just simple mathematics. It can be, you can call it profit margin, or you can percentage profit. We are just trying to turn it into a percentage. Know that we have made maybe 20%. Since just looking at those figures, you cannot make a conclusion that maybe this one we made a loss or what. Okay, you know. So now the company can say that at least we should make a profit of 50% or 20% on every order. Okay, so that is going to be this profit. I'm just double clicking on it. Divide by putting that slash. Divide by, the slash means division in computer. So if you use it with the other division sign, you will not find it. It's going to be profit divide by revenue. And then I'll just click OK. Now it is going to give us the percentage. Now we need to change this data type to percentages. 0.5 is 50%, but a non-technical person will not understand. So we need to change it to percentages. So to change that, you can just click on that, then you make it a percentage. Okay. So you can even remove the decimal places, or you can do what we call you can remove the decimal places. Oh, but this is also enough. I wouldn't want to stress you a lot or keep you for so long on the call. And then we have what we call the profits. The profits, if we want to round off, I don't know if we remember rounding off, but to round off, you can round off to maybe rounding up, and then you can round down, or you can just round off. Okay, so if it is 822 and then 0.5, if you round it off, it will be 823. So you can either round up or round down. So how do you do that in Power Query? You can just double click, you can just select that column, and then you got what we call scientific. Sorry. You can usually you don't need to go to that. You can use there's a lot in scientific. There's what we call the square root, exponential, logarithm, among many others. And then there is subtract, there is adding, multiplying, a lot of things. But the rounding off is also here. You can just click on it. Do you want to round up or you want to round down? Rounding down, if we have something like 8.5. Okay, if you just round, it will be 9. But if you're rounding up, okay, what will it be? Is it just 8? Okay, or it is 9, or it is 9. So let us see that in Power Query. We can go to this. You can click that column of profit, rounding up. Let us keep our eyes on this. This is 822.5. If you round it off, it will be 823 or 823. So I can go to rounding. I can choose rounding up, and then it will be 823. Okay, so if you want to undo that, you can just click, you can remove that. You can go back rounding. So if you want to round it down, you can select that column and then you go to rounding, round down. What will it be? It's going to be 822. That is rounding. Or I don't know if you are familiar with this. Sell and flow. Does flow mean up or down? Does sell means above or down? So these things usually happen more so to decision makers when they are making decisions. Can tell you please round it to the nearest what or what or what or what. Okay. So now I think we have exhausted most of the things. But in our subsequent sessions or our tomorrow's class, we shall look at what we call visualizing. We have exhausted uh, data transformation, and this is something that most of the data analysts or most of us spend our time in analyzing. You get paid as a data analyst, but you spend most of your time cleaning the data. So now after this, you just need to load this to the canvas for visualization. Just go and click on home, and then if you want to save these changes that you have made, you can just go. There's no save as, there's no save. It is just close and apply, or you can just apply. Apply means saving. You can just go to home, close and apply, or just apply. Applying, just stay still and then do more transformation, and close and apply. There's close and apply. That means you're saving and you're saving and closing, or you're closing and loading the data for visualization to take place. So now, Tim, any question as far as that is concerned? Back to you for questions. If you have any question, but I think in this session I've been repeating myself, I think 3 times, but just to make sure that we all understand what I'm talking about in this session. So I will stop here for now, but please, if you have any question, please use this time to ask any question that you feel like. Back to you. Thank you for listening to me. I remain as Robert Kawalya.